Welcome to video number 2 in Learning C++. Today we're going to talk about data in memory, variables, and data types. So, how does a program use data? Well, it stores it in memory that it can then access later. In particular, when we run a function, such as main, in C++, that function gets a memory space. For now, we're going to call that the stack, and we'll explain why later on. In that memory space, called the stack, you could store many different data items with different bits of data in them of different types. Now, how do we actually access that memory within the program? Well, we use in the code what are known as variables, which are basically just names given to these memory spaces. And each of these names is associated with a data type, telling the program how to interpret the data in those places. So let's see an actual example of that in C++. So I'm going to create a new C++ project, empty project. And I'm just going to call it project 2 using MinGW, and we will finish. Now, because it's empty, we need to add some source code to it. So I'm going to do a new source file. I'm going to call this main.cpp. Now, I'm going to put in the usual pieces. And I'm ready to begin. So, various rudimentary data types in C++ are integer, using the keyword int, we can declare multiple variables on a single line using the comma, such as this. I've declared two variables named a and b. There are also the float type, which is essentially a decimal number. And the char type, which is a character. We'll talk about how the char type is used later. An alternative to float would be double, which is a more precise float but uses up larger space in memory. Cout actually lets us write these things to the console fairly easily. So if we build the program and run it, we can actually see that it will print our values to the console. Now, the one type that we actually haven't specified here is what's known as a string, which is a bit of text, not just one character like the char type. We'll go into strings in much more detail, but strings are basically multiple characters, and they are given using quotation marks, as you can see here. The final type, which we'll get more into in the next video, is the Boolean type given with the keyword bool, and it can contain a value of either true or false. Now, suppose you actually wanted to change the values stored in memory during a program. You can do that easily with the assignment operator, which is given with a single equal sign, just like the initialization done here with the variables. So if I say that C equals 4.56, build the program and debug. We'll see that it prints 4.56 instead of 3.14. Another convenient way to enter values from the user at runtime is given in the IOStream library that gave us cout. And, of course, it is called cin. It uses an operator that points the opposite direction as couts, and simply points at the variable you want to store the value in. So now, if we build and debug again, and run, we'll see that the console is waiting for my input. I will type in 1.234 and hit the Enter key. We'll see the program runs and prints 1.234 to the console. In the next video, we will talk about logic and if and else statements.